is made possible in part by the Digital Musical Instrument Division of Yamaha Music Corporation USA and its network of authorized dealers nationwide.
Hi, my name is Herbie Hancock, and this is Rock School. Rock School is the 8-part series that shows you how blues, heavy metal, funk, reggae, and new music are made and played. On this show, you'll learn to slap, chop, pluck, and thump. It's all about funk. Right now, I've got a confession to make. Well, that was kind of meant to be a joke, but really, back in the 60s, I was what you might call kind of a jazz snob. It's not that I didn't like rock and roll or rhythm and blues, because that's the kind of music I grew up with. But by the 60s, I just wasn't paying much attention to anything but jazz. Not until a song by Sly and the Family Stone came on the radio. And just like that, I got completely turned around. That song, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again, was the funkiest thing I ever heard at that time. Come to think of it, it still is. After seeing Family Stone bassist Larry Graham in this session of Rock School, I can appreciate why that song has such an impact on me. Also on this show, you're going to meet one of the cornerstones of funk music, Mr. Funkadelic himself, Bootsy Collins. Along with Ray Charles, James Brown, and Sly Stone, Bootsy has helped make funk a legitimate musical form. Also, Nile Rodgers, producer of Chic, Mick Jagger, and Madonna, will share some of his funk secrets with us. Let's not be late. There's a whole lot of funk going down.
Hi, welcome to Rock School. Just listen a moment to the king of funk, Larry Graham. As bassist for Sly and the Family Stone in the 60s, and with his own group, Graham Central Station, Larry was an innovator in a style we now call funk. Along with Larry, we'll be talking to P-Funk all-star Bootsy Collins. And dance masters Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards of Chic.
So, funk is dance music. But what can each instrument do to make the overall sound funky?
A heavy downbeat is real important, especially when you're playing music to dance by. If you give them the heavy downbeat, then there's no way they're going to get lost. For example, if the bass is given that heavy down with the bass drum and the snare drum carrying the backbeat, I mean, really the horns, the guitar, the keyboards could do practically anything else, and it will never get the dancer or the listener confused.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and you hit on the one, you know, 1, you know. And then you would try to fit your different notes, what you felt in between that, like, you know, and that's the funk, you know, and you can change that, you know, it's however you feel, but you just have to fit it between that space, that little space that you got, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, you know, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then you go back to your funk. Here you go, 1, and then you want to break it down, break down. 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, and there you go. You got your basic funk formula there. You know, you can do anything you want to do with it, you know.
Okay, now obviously there are many variations to the funk formula, but basically on the drums, as Larry and Bootsy just said, we're talking about a solid 4/4 rhythm with the emphasis on the downbeat. i.e. the first beat of the bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, here's a slightly slower feel, but notice again the emphasis on the first beat of the bar, and I'll fill it out a little bit more this time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I filled around a little bit more then, but the thing to remember is that this is dance music. Don't overdo it. If you're going to fill, just do it between changing sections. Now, the other thing that you might have noticed in what we've done so far are the hi-hat snatches. The trick of this, you just open the hi-hat a little bit, catch it with the shoulder of the stick, and close it as fast as you can, like this. Now, you may want to accent at the same time with the bass drum, in which case you get syncopations like this. I'll do it very slowly. The other classic way is the disco hi-hat. This is easier. You just play 4 to the bar with the left foot, catch the hi-hat on the an of each beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You need a bit of independence to the right foot for this, so you can do this sort of rhythm. But to start with, all you need to do, 4 to the bar on both feet, and you get the classic hi-hat lick like this. 2, 3.
So let's look more now at the guitar role in funk. In this type of music, the guitar has really developed as a rhythmic and percussive instrument. So the sound is usually quite light and crisp. You could try pushing the pickups out of phase, or using a phase pedal or chorus pedal to space the sound out. So here's the sound without any effects. Try the chorus. And of course, guitarists have developed their own individual styles of playing. Let's look now at Tony Maiden and Nile Rodgers.
I use my index finger a lot, and along with, I use the pick occasionally, and combination with the thumb, you know, so it's like a, you know, I got this motion happening here.
So you're switching the pick
Yeah.
around?
It all depends on which lick I want to get into. Like, I use the index for more rhythmic feel. I use the pick for like a lot of plucking for the single notes. There you have it.
And the thumb?
The thumb is more like a... It's a combination of the thumb and index. More like a Hawaiian little...
You can just make it interesting with the right hand by... Matter of fact, Bernard showed me this, you could just take one chord and accentuate different notes in the chord without even moving. Just like this is a good example. You can go... whatever. Now, most of the time, I'm only playing 2 and 3 notes at a time, you're hearing. Which is just... same notes. But in the context of a song you hit... It's a feeling thing, and you just practice over and over again, which is what I did. I used to just sit around and go... and then you just keep going. And I used to mock banjo rhythms, you know, just like... and just, you know, forever.
So both those guitarists have got their own individual styles. But I'm going to show you two techniques which all guitarists will incorporate into their playing. The first one is often called the chop, and this produces quite a short chord sound. What you do is strike the strings with your right hand using either an upstroke or a downstroke like this. With your left hand, obviously you fret the chord, but then bring your fingers up quickly so that they're resting on the strings and dampening the strings. So this cuts the chord sound short, something like this. I'm going to play 4 regular chop strokes to the bar, but then I'm going to switch the rhythm. So listen and see if you can spot what I'm doing. Now I started off playing 4 strokes to the bar, but then I switched to playing 16 strokes to the bar, actually matching the hi-hat in this case. And this is the second technique we're going to look at. If you've heard that fast, syncopated, funky rhythm, this is a good way of doing it. Keep the right hand playing 16 strokes to the bar constantly, like this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's the left hand which selects which of the 16th notes to play and emphasise. You can build up rhythms like this. Now, you can practice these two techniques separately, but if you're in a band, you'll want to incorporate both techniques into your playing. Now, I'm going to demonstrate using both of them. I'm going to use the chords of E minor and A seventh. And you might have noticed that I'm just using the top strings. This produces a sharper sound, which is good for funk. And also, if you just play the top 3 strings, you've got much less distance to travel if you're playing fast rhythms. So I'll do it now with the band. What I was doing at the end there was using chord inversions, which you'll remember is a way of playing the same chord in different positions. So E minor, here, and A seventh. And using this technique, you can actually change around the melody of the chords as well as playing the rhythm at the same time. Now, we'll go on to look a little bit more at chords, because often in funk, you'll find that there are more jazzy sounding and complex chords used. Now, if you remember, in the series so far, we've looked at major triads, minor triads, and 7th chords. If you add on notes from the major and minor scales onto these chords, then you can actually build up more complex chords in each of these groups. Remember how the scale is numbered from 1 to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If the chords extend over the octave, the numbering will continue. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Of course, there's not time to look at all the chords you could form, so I'm just going to pick a couple to look at which are quite popular in funk. The first one is the minor 7th. This is a minor triad with a flattened 7th note added to it. I'm going to show you A minor 7th. First position, root note on the 6th string. So I'm going to bar across at the 5th fret and add in this note here. This is an A minor 7th chord. The root note on the 6th string, and here's the flattened 7th note. There. Another position for this chord is with the root note on the 5th string. So I fret across at the 12th fret there with my first finger and add in these 2 notes here. Now here's the root note, the A, and here's the flattened 7th note, which in this case is a G note. Now then, this chord position is very good for funk because you can actually hammer on with these 2 notes and produce quite a percussive rhythm sound, something like this. Now the last chord I'm going to look at is the 9th chord. This is formed by taking a 7th chord and adding on a 9th note to it. Now this is one way of playing an A 9th chord. Bar the top 3 strings with your 3rd finger, 1st finger here, 2nd finger there. Now this is an A 9th, so this is the root, the A note, and here's the 9th note here, which in this case is a B note. Now I've shown you this shape because it's very popular for funk, because you can actually slide this shape up like this and produce the sound a little bit like a brass section might sound. I'll show you with the band. And my little finger was just adding on a 13th note there as well. Now, let's just recap on the 3 chord shapes that I've just shown you. This is A minor 7th, root note on the 6th string, and A minor 7th, root note on the 5th string. And finally, here's A 9th, root on the 5th string again, and that's the 9th note flashing there. Now, the last thing I'm going to look at is playing funky riffs. You might have heard me playing a couple during this program. Now, I'm still using notes from the blues scale, but this time, instead of just playing the notes straight, I'm actually dampening with my right hand. Now, if you can see, I'm using the side of my right hand just on the bridge saddles to dampen the strings, and this produces quite a percussive sound. I'll add a bit of chorus, and listen. So this right hand damping is quite useful if you want to play funk riffs.
In funk, the central instrument is the bass guitar because it provides melody as well as rhythm. Let's look at the left hand. First of all, hammering on. Hold the 1st finger down firmly and then hammer on with the 3rd finger. It sounds like this. You can do the same thing with the 2nd finger. It sounds like this. And pulling off, which is using the 3rd finger to pull off the string, and you can do the same thing with the 2nd as well. Here's the 1st one. 2nd one. And finally, the 3rd variation on that, which is called a fast trill. And here's a riff incorporating the fast trill. Another common feature of funk bass lines is the use of the octave, which looks like this. Now, the bass line is going to go E, and then a C sharp, which is the 6th, then D, which is the 7th, and then back to E, which is the root note again. And then I'm going to go and do a fast trill on a G note like this. It goes like this. 2, 3, 4. Now, the bass takes lines which are based on the blues scale. In E, that would be E, G, A, B, and D. I'm now going to play a riff just using the notes from the blues scale.
Up to now, Henry's been showing you what you can do with the left hand, but the bass technique crucial to funk is the slap, which is done with the right hand. And the man who turned the slap into a major funk style was Larry Graham.
Actually, it started with Sly and the Family Stone. Before then, there really was no thumping, plucking, or syncopated bass style because I was the one that started doing it. But it wasn't popular before the first hit record. And the first time I got to thump on one of his records was a tune called Dance to the Music. And I got a chance to thump like this. after that was a success, we went back in the studio and cut a song called Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. Was kind of our way of thanking the people for that hit. And I got a chance to thump and plug, okay? And that was kind of like this. 1, 2, 3, Notice how the drum kind of like complements the bass lick. 3, So we went back in the studio and I got a chance to thump one time on a song called Everyday People, where I thought I would try something new. I would just thump the whole song without really changing up any notes at all. And it was something like this. 3, you notice the rhythm is really being carried by the bass, and then the drum really complements that again, just like in the other song, like just bass. And then the drums complementing it. Now, what Tony is playing is actually different than what was on the record, but because of his style of playing, it is still a compliment. 3, 4. And there you have it.
So how do you slap? Well, this is the secret. It comes from the thumb bone, the magical thumb bone. And what you do is you strike the string against the fingerboard and then move away, allowing the string to vibrate. Make sure that the movement is from the thumb and keep the wrist and forearm totally relaxed. You should hear a click followed by a clear bell-like tone. It would sound like this. Now, if you don't hear that tone, it could be a few reasons. One of them might be you're moving the wrist and forearm together and hitting the bass and deadening it, or you might be hitting the string and then not moving away quick enough. So a click like this. Now, the second part of the sound is to curl the first and second finger underneath the top string, like this, and then pluck away from the bass, making sure you don't move your hand away, like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. When you can do those two things, listen to bass drum patterns. Try and copy them with the thumb, like this. Now, once you've got the bass drum, see if you can add the snare. The pull goes on the snare beats. Listen carefully. Now, once you can do that, try and do a fast trill or a hammer-on with a snare beat like this. So if you want to get fancy and put the left hand together with the right, you could do something like this.
I was using a lot of funk in my music in the early 70s, started with my Headhunters album. I even called one of the songs Sly and dedicated it to Sly Stone. Now, there's more Bootsy coming up, so don't go away. And if you want to learn more about funk or any of the other subjects in Rock School, keep watching. Rock School is offering a home study package that goes into a lot more detail than a half-hour TV program possibly can. And now for Rock School, this is Herbie Hancock Sang.
Now, we've only given you a basic outline in a music that's really strong on rhythm and rich in texture. Now, at best, it should be great to listen to dance to, and to play. Now, all we can do is try and point you in the right direction for your own sound. But remember, it's not so much the technique that matters as the feel. So take it from Bootsy.
Get the latest information on today's health problems. Stay tuned for a new season of Here's to Your Health, coming up next on Channel 23.
One more time.
Hey, wait a minute. You just heard some pretty impressive playing. But you know, you don't learn to play in a group just from watching. It takes practice. If you really want to learn how to play, Rock School can help. Give us a call. Tell us what instrument you play. We'll send you a video cassette and a 200-page player's guide to rock for just $29.90. It's the most in-depth study guide from serious rock musicians featuring some of the greatest rockers of our time. Whether you're into guitar, keyboards, drums, vocals, soloing, or playing in a group, we've got a video cassette and player's guide that contains hundreds of useful tips, photos, and easy-to-read charts. It's a complete guide to the secrets of rock music, equipment, effects, and rock styles, all from the music makers themselves. Call now. Have your credit card handy and call 1-800-451-7020 or send $29.90 plus $2.50 shipping to Rock School, WNET, Box 68618, Indianapolis, Indiana. Be sure to tell us the instrument you play and whether you're a beginner or experienced player.